Hello, good morning everyone. I hope you are well. I was turning up the volume so that you could hear me properly. Um, Today we are going to discuss a topic that is a little bit hard to understand, so I advise you to sit down and take your time to watch this video. Um, we're going to talk about Shakespeare's writing style. Yes, and for that we're going to analyze one of his sonnets. Yes, Shakespeare's writing style was iambic pentameter. This is one of the main concepts that we are going to discuss today. Allow me to share the screen with you so that I can explain a little bit more about this topic. Okay, let's wait until there we go. Okay, so as you know, we have been discussing, the groups have been talking about Elizabethan society, yes, and during Elizabethan times, people would write sonnets. These sonnets would have a specific structure, so they have a specific name. They are called either Shakespearean sonnets or Elizabethan sonnets because they share the same structure. Now, what is a sonnet? A sonnet, it's a word that comes from the Italian word sonetto, which means a little song. Yes, a sonnet is a 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter. That we are going to see what iambic pentameter is, but so far we know that it is a 14-line poem. Yes, so it is a poem made of 14 lines. Look at the structure. Yes, here I have an outline of the structure. We have in the whole sonnet 14 lines. These 14 lines are divided in 3 quatrains. What is a quatrain? It's a group of 4 lines. Okay? So you have 3 quatrains. 4 lines, 4 lines, and 4 lines. And then you have one final rhyming couplet, yes, in which the conclusion is drawn. Yes, usually it has 2 lines to complete the 14 of them. Yes, within the poem, within the sonnet, there is an instance, a moment that is called turn or volta. Yes, this is a sudden shift or change in the subject that is being developed. Yes, and usually it is introduced by the word but. Yes, so you have 14 lines. Yes, in the 3 quatrains the main concept of the story or the sonnet is developed, and in the final rhyming couplet you have a summary, you have a conclusion of the topic. Yes, well, there is something very interesting about the sonnets written by William Shakespeare, because some scholars have thought that maybe this is a way in which we can discover something more about his identity. Remember when we discussed Shakespeare that there is not much documentary evidence about him, so people try to search for any kind of information in his writings. Yes, his sonnets, the sonnets that Shakespeare wrote, he wrote about 3 topics or 2 people. Yes, that maybe he was addressing, for example, a very large group of his sonnets. Yes, here I have a book of, this is the sonnets by William Shakespeare. These are all little poems written by him, and a large number of them are addressed to a young man or lover. Yes, sometimes trying to convince him to get married. Yes, sometimes just praising his abilities or his beauty. Yes, at that time in Elizabethan society, because we have to state something. Today there are a lot of people that believe that Shakespeare was homosexual because of these sonnets that were addressed to this young man or lover. Yes, there is no evidence for us to say this, but we do have to say that at that time, as women didn't receive any kind of education, men used to have very close relationships, very close friendships, because as they would receive education, they could discuss about things that maybe men couldn't discuss about with women at that time because of how society worked at that time. So maybe what happened is that Shakespeare was a very good friend of someone, or what could have happened is that someone paid Shakespeare to write these sonnets for a young man or lover. But we will never know. These are just theories. What we know is that a large number of sonnets are addressed to a young man or lover that maybe belongs to high society, or this that I have already explained. Another group of sonnets is addressed to a dark lady, a lady who is exotic, who maybe is of a Spanish origin, but she has black hair, black eyes, black skin, and there is this relationship of love and hate that Shakespeare has with this lady, that maybe she was like a mistress or something like that, but we really don't know. And finally, there is a group of sonnets that is addressed or that deals with the topic of old age, and usually in those beautiful sonnets he reflects upon getting old, and he also talks about Anne Hathaway, who was his first wife, his only wife, because he didn't get married after Anne. But in that sonnet, the sonnets about Anne Hathaway are also beautiful. Okay, so these are the three groups, the three topics or people that the sonnets deal with. When reading Shakespeare, you know that we are going to read some of the parts of a play by Shakespeare. There are some words that are written in Old English that I want to introduce to you so that you start having an idea of what they mean. Yes, thou is used as the subject pronoun, as the personal pronoun. Yes, thou means you, and it's a personal pronoun. Are you surprised? So it appears at the beginning of the sentence. Yes, thou art an esteemed scientist. You are an esteemed scientist. Yes, so we use it as a personal pronoun. But then we have thee. Thee is the object form, the object pronoun. Yes, so we use it at the end of a sentence. This T-Rex wants to eat thee. It also means you, but it is used in the object form. Yes, I just sent thee an inappropriate message. Then we have these two words, thy and thine. This is the possessive pronoun your. Yes, we use thy before words that begin with a consonant sound, and we use thine before words that begin with a vowel sound. Okay, of course, when we read the play, we will try to refresh this. And here I prepared a chart with this information so that you more or less have it organized and you remember this. Okay, well, let's start talking about iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter is it's connected with the meter of poetry. You know that poetry has meter, a rhythmic structure that is made out of lines, and those lines are made out of words, and those words are made out of syllables, and these syllables can be accented or not. Yes, the iambic pentameter consists of a succession of syllables that can be stressed, as you can see here with this symbol, that we will use this symbol with stressed syllables, and this symbol for unstressed syllables, for syllables that are not stressed. There is a moment in this explanation in which you will say, I don't understand a thing, but I promise that it will make sense at the end. Okay, So let's look at different examples. Let's first understand this. An iamb, yes, is one unstressed syllable followed by a stressed one. Yes, and for example here, this is an iamb, to be. Yes, do you see? Unstressed, stress. So I'm going to read this like this. To be or not to be? That is the question. To be or not to be? Yes, so an iambic foot, yes, is this. Can you see that here we have this separated, the iambic foots? Yes, why is it called penta? Because it has 5. Yes, we have 5 iambs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, follow the cursor here on the screen. 1 iamb, 2 iambs, 3 iambs, 4 iambs, 5 iambs. Yes. There is also another kind of meter that is called trochaic. Yes, a trochee. Yes, a trochaic foot is the opposite. It's when we have one stressed syllable that is followed by an unstressed. Look at this example. Double, double, toil and trouble. Yes, this is a line from that is used by the witches in a play, and it's interesting that it's used for the witches because Shakespeare would do this. Shakespeare would use the trochaic foot for for supernatural characters, because the trochaic foot sounds super and natural, while the iambic pentameter sounds more than natural. Yes, it sounds perfect. It fits into the sentence. Yes, we will continue speaking about this. Don't panic. So iambic pentameter, as I said before, it's a succession of 5 iambic feet. Yes, here we have 5. Yes, usually I would write here on the board. We have 2 syllables in each of these. That means that we have 10 syllables. Yes, in a succession of 5 iambic feet. Then there is also, now before we go on with this, I would like to show you a video about iambic pentameter so that you understand better this concept, yes, of iambic pentameter. So I will show you the video so that you understand this, and we go on with the rest of the PowerPoint presentation. One second, here we go.
Time to learn about iambic pentameter. Don't be a Shakespearean amateur. If you're playing Romeo or Hamlet or Lear, pentameter's here to help you to perform Shakespeare. It goes like this: da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. 10 beats, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. 5 feet. 2 beats in a foot, and most feet are iambs, and sometimes the ends of the iambs have rhymes. But hey, what is an iamb anyway?
Here, I'll explain. I'm an iamb. Da-da, da-da.
An iambic foot has an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed.
Da-da.
And that's the kind of foot that I am an iamb. Trochee, trochee. A stressed syllable first and an unstressed one. Da-da,
Da-da,
da-da.
da-da.
And don't forget about me, boys. I'm a feminine ending. Instead of ending at the 10th beat, I just add one more. That's what a feminine ending is for.
Da-da-da, da-da, da-da-da. To be or not to be,
That is,
the question.
now is,
The winter of our discount
artist content.
No, Trochee, stop it.
Butt soft, what I do yonder window breaks butt soft, butt soft.
Stop saying butt soft. It's okay, feminine, I got this. But softly light through yonder window breaks is an example of iambic Willie shakes.
Oh, see, it all sounds so much sweeter when you analyze the meter. Now you won't be an amateur, you'll know about iambic pentameter. You can play Romeo or Hamlet or Juliet or Lear. Now you can perform Shakespeare.
Okay, so I hope that after watching that video my whole explanation of the iambic pentameter is clear, and even if it's not, we will discuss this in class, and I will also show you other videos where this is further explained. Yes, but it has to do with the beating of the it has to do with the beat of the line. Yes, the rhythm of the line. In fact, I want to show you another video. Well, no, we will continue with this, and then I will ask you to watch some other video in another link. Okay. So what is blank verse? We continue. We are discussing the kind of language that Shakespeare uses and the rhythm patterns that he uses in his writings. Yes, blank verse is unrhymed iambic pentameter. Yes, here it should appear. There we go. Yes, it's unrhymed iambic pentameter. This means that we have the 5 iambs, the 10 syllables, but they don't rhyme. The lines don't rhyme with each other. Yes. Then there is something called the rhyme scheme. This is something that we use to describe the pattern of rhyme that a poem has. Wait. I don't know why that stopped. Here we go again. Sorry about that. So in order to describe this pattern of rhyme in a poem, we assign a letter to each rhyming sound. Yes, now we will see it, but we will see it in the sonnet. But the rhythm, it can be the rhyming pattern can be A B A B C D C D E F E F G G. Notice that it is one letter for each line of the 14 lines of the sonnet. There is something that Shakespeare uses. Shakespeare may, in his plays, he may write his paragraphs in verse or in prose. Yes, prose usually is everyday language with no specific rhythm, metric, or rhyme, and it's used with characters that belong to a lower class, while verse passages are more elevated, more poetic. They are used by characters who belong to a higher class. Yes, and here I will show you a picture where you see the difference. Notice that prose looks more like a paragraph and verse looks more like a poem. Yes. Well, now let's analyze this sonnet. This is sonnet number 12. No, wait. Sonnet number 18. You can Google it and you can find it, and if you can print it, I would recommend you to put pause on this video, print it, have it with you, read it, and read it with me and take down notes as I analyze it. Okay, I'm going to read it first. Notice and try to follow look at the rhythm pattern. Yes, A B C D C D E F E F G G. Okay, I'm going to read it first. Notice that all the lines have the same size because the whole sonnet is written in iambic pentameter. Okay, here we go. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's leaves had all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Okay, first of all, let's focus on the rhyming. First of all, don't panic if you don't understand the words. Yes, you will get used to it. We are learning. This is a process. This is the first time that you are reading Shakespeare. Yes, let's pay attention to the rhyming pattern. Look, for this, the ending of this first sentence is day. So we are going to assign the sound A. Yes, because it's the first letter of the alphabet. Then the second sentence doesn't end with the same rhyming sound. So we are going to use a different letter B, because that's the one that follows. It's temperate, and this is day, temperate. Now May rhymes with day, so we are going to assign to it the same letter that we put at first with day. And date rhymes with temperate, so we are going to assign to it the same letter as temperate. So we have in the first quatrain a rhyming scheme of AB, AB. The second quatrain, the last word does not rhyme with any of the words from the above quatrain, so we are going to assign to it a different letter. It's shines, so we are going to assign to it C, because that's we are following the order is according to the alphabet. Dimmed, yes, here is different from shines, so we have a different sound. We need to add a different letter. Declines rhymes with shines, so we are going to label it in the same way as we label the first one. And untrimmed, again, here it rhymes with dimmed, so we are going to assign to it the letter D. When we go to the following quatrain, the same happens. We have a different rhyming pattern, so we need to use different letters. Fade rhymes with shade, so they both have the E letter, and oast rhymes with grossed, so they both have the F letter. And I could go on and go on. If I would have another quatrain and with a different rhyming pattern, I would continue with G, H, G, H, and so on. But what we have here, as this is an Elizabethan sonnet, we have the final rhyming couplet, and look, C, D. The rhyming sounds are the same, so we repeat the same letter, G, G. Why do we use G? Because the rhyming sound is different from all of the previous sounds, okay? So this is how we define the rhyming scheme of a sonnet, okay? Now let's analyze the meaning of each quatrain. The first quatrain states the subject matter. In general, yes, we are going to speak generally about this, and then we will go to the specific words. The second quatrain explores the subject matter a little bit more. The third quatrain, we find a sudden change in the mood of the story that is being told, and the final rhyming couplet is where we have an explanation of the topic that was developed, yes, and a conclusion. This is a sonnet that is addressing a young man or lover. Yes, we don't know. And let's dive into the explanation. Yes. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? This is a rhetorical question. Yes. And what the author is doing is saying, I'm going to compare your beauty to a summer's day. Yes. And notice that it says shall I. We have here the lyrical I. What is the lyrical I? Is when we find the pronoun I in a sonnet, we find the author as the protagonist of the story, of the thing that he's going to tell. Yes, so we have the point of view. The point of view is, this is the author speaking. Yes, shall I compare you to a summer's day? And he's going to start, he's using the imagery, the ideas connected with summer to talk about the beauty of this person. Yes, he says, you are more lovely and more temperate. Yes, temperate means here constant, and this is a very interesting word because summer doesn't last, and this is an idea that is present all throughout this sonnet, the idea that time takes everything away, but he keeps stating this idea that you are even better than summer. Yes, you are more lovely and more temperate. You are more constant than summer, because summer eventually ends. In fact, this is what he explains after that. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. Yes, so the winds shake the buds, es como los pimpollos de la primavera, because May is associated with spring in the north. Yes, so this idea of fragility, that a wind comes and the buds fall from the tree. Yes, and summer's leaf had all too short a date, and the contract of summer is very short. It only lasts for 3 months and it's over. So even the conclusion of this, or the summary of this quatrain, is that even if I compare you to summer, you are more beautiful because you are more constant and you last more. Yes, this is the idea of the first quatrain. Let's go to the second quatrain. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. What is the eye of heaven? The eye of heaven is the sun. Yes, and this is a metaphor. Yes, because he's comparing the sun as if it were the eye of heaven, and it is also personification of the sun. Yes, personification, it's a literary device used in literature that it gives human attributes to an object. Yes, so sometimes the sun is too hot. This is the idea. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. Yes, and sometimes it doesn't shine as it should. Yes, and every fear from fear, this is alliteration. Alliteration is when we have repetition of the same sound at the beginning of several words in a sentence. Alliteration is a literary device used in literature by which authors repeat a sound in order to emphasize a specific feeling in what they are saying. Yes, and every fear from fear sometimes decline. Yes, this idea that from time to time, every now and then, the sun eventually sets. Yes, the sun disappears. Yes, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. That this can be because of nature, because of a storm or something like that, or because of the course of nature. Yes, I'm looking down at my notes because I don't want to forget anything. And this idea that we get tired of hot weather. Yes, and even the sun loses its beauty. Yes, and here we have the summary of this second quatrain. Summer ends, and even beautiful things have an ending. Yes, and notice that in the third quatrain we have something that is called the turn or volta. Here it is written turn or volta, because there is a change in the mood. Yes, of the story that is being told. Yes, but your eternal summer shall not fade. So your beauty shall not fade. This is a metaphor. Yes, summer stands for beauty. Nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. So you will not lose possession of your beauty. Yes, when verbs appear like this in Shakespeare, it's because they are written in the past. Instead of using ed, en vez de usar ed para especificar el pasado, they would use apostrophe st. Yes, so you will not lose possession of the fair that of the beauty that you own, nor shall death, notice the personification of death because it's in capital letter, brag thou wanderest in his shade. So not even death, yes, will drag you. Not even death will be able to steal the beauty from you. Yes. And we are wondering how, because we are saying, okay, how is this poet promising this person that his or her beauty will never fade away? How can one keep this promise? No? And we have here the explanation. When in eternal lines to time thou growest. So when you will grow in eternal lines. What are the eternal lines? The poem. Yes, so your beauty is entwined, is trimmed, it's entangled in this poem. Yes, and look at what it says after that. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, yes, while men can breathe, while there is a man alive, while there is men alive, as long as there is someone alive reading this, and here it says, so long lives this, and this, the poem, gives life to thee, gives life to you. Yes, so this final rhyming couplet is the explanation. Yes, this idea that time, it says, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So time and you will become one thing through this poem that I have written, because every time that someone reads this poem, you will be alive. Beautiful, beautiful, like a beautiful gift, the most romantic one that someone could give to their lover. Yes, and here I have because there is this image used of greenery, this idea that time, the poem is like the stick, yes, and the whole picture, yes, and we have time and you and the lover, and everything is together in this poem. It's a beautiful image that is expressed here. Okay, so I hope you have understood this beautiful sonnet written by William Shakespeare. It's a way of introducing the language that he uses. Do not panic if you think I don't understand a thing, because these are topics that we will continue discussing. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this. Please watch the other videos that I'm going to leave for you to watch to better understand this topic, but know that we will keep talking about this, so don't panic. Okay, this is it for today. Bye.